are you?
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Thanks so much for doing this.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So you have a busy week coming up. You have two new films, The Gateway and Karen, coming out. We'll start off with Karen. Can you just tell me a little bit about this film? And you play Karen, who is obviously a Karen. So just about your role and about the film in general.
Yeah, I play a Karen named Karen. So it's just a double whammy. It's a, she's not a great person. For me, films are polar, you have to have the light and the dark and the push and the pull. And I think we created a great like piece of cinema. All the while we did this because it's a very predominant active situation right now that needs to be highlighted. And sometimes these subjects aren't easy, especially when they're so fresh and wrong and everything. But I got offered the part, and the director, Coke Daniels, and filmmaker, he's awesome, and he basically we became very good friends, and he promised to support me through it, and he has. It's not, that's just who he is, and we did this to affect change, and in the best way that I can help do it. Speaking on something that I really don't have a right to, but all I can do is just lend my talent and everything just to try to speak to people in a bigger audience.
And obviously, this character is nothing like yourself. So, how did you get into character?
Well, I got into character. I was on a prison show for about 7 years, called Orange is the New Black, and I learned a lot about people and just all different types of people that end up in prison. And basically like snitches or entitled people or people that are busybodies or gossips, like they don't do very well in the prison system. So my biggest thing to take away is like, for every finger you point, there's three pointing back at you. That it's a lesson on like you don't have to act that way. You don't have to say that. You don't have to do that. So many people have called me out on Instagram and just attacked me about playing this role. And all the while, I mean, isn't that a Karen in and of itself to take the time to, you know, basically abuse me for doing this as if it's so personal that I'm personally doing this to them. So it's been a big learning lesson, a big journey. I've been attacked a lot by a lot of white women that are very offended that I would do this to us. And I'm just like, well, don't act like that then. So it's just a lesson on behavioral and change, behavioral change and counting to 10 and mental illness and all that stuff that causes this type of behavior.
Definitely. And I think if people are giving you backlash for it, then it's more of they're looking at themselves and like they're seeing themselves in this
Mhm.
betrayal. And that's, maybe it's like a hard look in the mirror, which is a good
Right.
thing. But
Yeah.
um, how do you like take this backlash? What is your normal response? Do you just ignore it and say this is kind of like part of the
No,
business or
no, I write back, but nicely. And then when they see that I'm nice, and I mean, then they're like, "Oh, okay, okay, so you're cool," and I just apologize. Like this isn't personal. Like I'm not trying to offend you. I'm trying to. Well, I was offered a role, and I'm an actor. One, I didn't write it. Two, three, because I care. I care about doing my part. And I know it might be kind of feeding into it. I could see it being seen like that, but ultimately the scope of it is a bigger purpose, like to the point where I sacrifice my career perhaps even. So because who knows how people are going to take this.
I
Everyone's so,
I think it's an amazing film, and if there's backlash, it's definitely temporary, so nothing to worry about. But how has this been different than other projects you've worked on in the past?
um I've oh man, I've had such a great career. I'm so lucky and grateful, and I've worked so hard to be, just to be a working actor. And so I always want to put that out there because it's really not an easy career at all. And it goes up and down and round and round. But this film's different because it's like hitting right at a time that, like I said, a very active subject matter. So I'm really just having to be very sensitive to the subject matter, as we all should be, because it's really important that things turn around and change once and for all.
Definitely. And like you said, it's a very hard profession. And what do you think is for you the hardest part about doing this, or maybe a misconception that people don't realize that actors and actresses have to face?
We don't get paid as much as everybody thinks. Let's start there. If we Sometimes we don't get paid at all. Um, Also, there's this like, misconception that it's just glamorous and stuff, but like it's a job. I mean, we're on set grinding, you just hurry up and wait. Film out in very either hot weather, cold weather, in the ocean, it's just like meaning like in the ocean in January. Like it's not what you think. I mean, we get COVID tested twice a day pretty much. We're just poked and prodded, and I mean it's just. But at the same time, it's a wonderful career, and I'm very very blessed and grateful. But it's hard. It's very hard.
Yeah, that's awesome. And kind of switching gears over to The Gateway. So you have another film. They're both coming out September 3rd. Going to be a very busy day for you.
I'm
Um,
pretty sure that they wrote on Karen's. Anyway, moving on. Uh, yeah, so that's a film that I have a small role in, and her name's Corey, and she's a nice girl that hangs out with the lead character who's going through a hard time. He's a social worker, kind of goes to this watering hole to talk with his friends, and she's just she's a friend, and they try to have a relationship, but he's not ready because he's going through a lot. But it's a very very good movie, and it covers again a lot of very socially active situations right now, like a lot of movies lately.
you were working with Olivia Munn, Keith David, amazing cast. What was set like for you? What was it like to get to know them?
Well, I had a friend that was on Sons of Anarchy, so it was nice to see him. And it was nice. It was in Virginia. I was born in Virginia, so I was really happy to like go back to Virginia and film. So it was good. I mean, it was work.
That's amazing. And what has it been like to film during COVID? You kind of mentioned it a little bit, but what has that been like for you? What has it been like to get back? What was that feeling when you could finally like act again and the world wasn't as
I mean, it's definitely odd to have rehearsal and everything with your mask on, because I realize that I have like I'm hard of hearing in my right ear just from music and DJing. So I realized I read lips a lot. So when people have their mask on, I'm like, what, you know what I mean? So because I was definitely like an audio and visual learner, so that's been challenging for me. But it's just different. You get tested, you show up on set, you get tested 2 times. Can't really interact with anybody yet. We're acting. It's just a very bizarre time. But what I love is that we're pulling it off with skeleton crews, and you just see that you can pull these amazing like motion pictures off with very little because all the money goes to the COVID budget.
definitely. It's great. It's amazing how everyone's adapted to it and just kind of accepts it and, goes on.
Well,
Um,
that's what do
but
that.
yeah, now that these two films are coming out, what is your next big thing? What would you love? What's your dream project?
Um, my dream project. I mean, I have a couple, but just to continue to well, my whole thing is I'm sick of playing like down and out people that aren't happy and this and that, and it just my life is I am happy, and sometimes we get pigeonholed as actors. So just to continue to say no to those types of projects, and keep hopefully elevating and playing people that help. So many people watch movies that it's very important that we do right by that, that we're putting out a good message and a good frequency. So lately I just don't want to take any types of those types of roles. I just want to try to play good people, happy people, people that help other people.
Yeah, maybe a comedy next.
Right, I just
Uh,
completed one.
yeah. Well, thank you so much for this. It was so great chatting with you. I'm so excited for these films to come out September 3rd.
Thank you.